Welcome everybody, episode 9 of Money, Life and Gags with Harry and Mark. So welcome Harry.
Welcome Mark, how are you?
Very good mate, very good.
Ready to rock and roll for episode 9?
I'm a little bit cautious. You've said you've got a list of questions for me. So
Q&A.
Q&A today. So I don't know what topic, I don't know how deep we're going. So I'm good, but I'm cautious.
Okay, so perhaps we should start by saying that we're not giving financial advice. We're just having a bit of fun.
That's the topic of these questions?
Yeah, we're not giving...
well, I'm definitely not giving financial advice, because if you took my advice, you probably wouldn't make much money at all. So
yeah, so a couple of people have reached out to me with some questions, so you don't know what the questions are. So first I want to thank Ryan, Tim and Kelly. They know who they are. Interesting questions.
Are they subscribers though?
I'm not too sure.
We've got to check that, because no use sending questions if you're not subscribers. Like, I'm not answering questions to non-subscribers. No, just joking. I'm only joking.
Interesting questions though, and I took some time actually to go through the first one, and even I got confused. So how about we hit it off straight away?
Sure, let's hit the ground running.
So this is from Ryan. Married couple, Mark, 39 and 37.
Yep.
3 kids under the age of 6.
Wow, they've been busy.
They certainly have. 3 kids under the age of 6. How do you do that? Wow.
Well, I think it's... well, if you want to do the maths, we could do the maths.
No, we won't do the maths, but looking after 3 kids. Obviously, mum's obviously a full-time mum. The gentleman, full-time IT, works for a large corporate. And as he was working for a large corporate, the last couple of years... he's got a side hustle. He operates a D2C business, online business, direct to consumer.
Is that a dropship business, or do you
Not
know?
too sure. Doesn't tell me. He's been doing that for the last 3 years. As I said, a bit of a side hustle. However, this side hustle has grown to represent 70% of his regular employee IT income.
Right.
Okay. He roughly works 10 hours a week in his IT as an employee.
10 hours a week?
Sorry, 10 hours a day. No, it sounded a bit weird. So 10 hours a day as a full-time employee, a lot of hours.
Yeah.
And on top of that, his D2C business, in other words, his online business, he's roughly doing about 6 hours a day. So we're talking 16
hours a day?
16 hours per day.
So there's no more kids there.
Oh, well, mate, I think he's got enough on his hands. Obviously, being 16 hours a day, he's realised that he's just got no time.
Yeah, so work-life balance is an issue. And is the question, which way should I go?
The question is, he hasn't talked about life balance, although he's starting to get exhausted.
Yeah.
He has employed in the past 2 to 3 people to operate his online business, only to find out that each and every time he employs someone, the business goes backwards immediately. Because when you're running an online business, you really got to be on the ball.
Yep.
So he can't depend on anyone. He's got to do everything by himself. He does say he's exhausted. He's working 7 days a week. Now, here where it gets a little bit tricky. He can't leave his full-time employment because 3 years ago, he upgraded his home. And his monthly...
he's got debt.
His monthly mortgage now, this is all the details that I've got, his monthly mortgage commitment now is $9,387 per month. It's a big debt.
Yeah, and after tax, that's a lot.
It's huge. So he's telling me, I mean, if we work out backwards, I can sort of like work out what his gross income is from his IT job.
And he's got to bring up 3 kids. He's got to feed the family, bring up the kids, all the cost of living stuff outside of a mortgage.
Yeah. And I can see what's happened because 3 years ago, everyone was on a fixed rate of 2%. So the rates went up to about 6.25%. So his mortgage repayments have gone up by 50%. So he was paying $6,000, now he's at 9,387, and hence why he can't leave his full-time employment. Although,
but did you say the side hustle was making 70% of his earnings?
Correct. So we're talking about $6,000. So it's doing okay. How do we sort this one out?
I always, the first point of call I would go is I don't believe in anything. When I hear can't, I switch off.
Right.
There's only will or won'ts, right?
Yeah.
And I use an analogy. When you get food poisoning at a restaurant, does that mean you never go out for dinner again? Or does it just mean you don't go to that restaurant again? And I understand what he said, that 2 people, was it 2 people he had previously employed on his side hustle?
Let me read the question again.
I think you
He's
said they
employed-
previously
yeah,
employed
yeah,
two people,
yeah,
and the
two.
business went backwards on the back of it.
On both occasions. So he's obviously employed someone to do it on his behalf. It went backwards.
Yep.
He's tried again later on, and it's gone backwards immediately. So he virtually has to step in straight away and get it going.
Yeah, I get the stepping in part, and he's got to do that
Yep.
to keep his side hustle going.
Yep.
What I would do is review, number one, how did you go about selecting these two people? And did you set them up for success or did you set them up for fail? Because when you run something yourself and you got it all in your head, it's not easy for someone else to come in and just replicate that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the side hustle is. I don't know how if you need to be, of a certain level of intelligence or entrepreneurialism or whatever it may
Yep.
be to do that role, or you just got to follow instructions. So we don't know that information, right? But
True.
I would be creating. Have you heard of the term SOPs?
No.
So standard operating procedures. So whatever this side hustle is, I would be trying to document the procedures of this business, the work processes, and then analyse it against the two people that you did employ and why did it fail. So did it fail because it was too hard? Did it fail because it was too confusing? Or did it fail because you chose the wrong people? But it's going to be one of those three things why it failed. It can't be just because you're the only one on the planet that can do it. Because if that's the case, he's not building anything because key man risk is all him. So if he falls ill, heaven forbid, touch wood, if he falls ill, that whole thing falls over. So he should definitely not be leaving his full-time employment, regardless of what percentage of his total earnings it represents for him. What he should be doing is how do I scale and grow this side hustle to be a true business? That's what I would be doing. And so I'd be sitting him down and say, explain the business. Tell me what it is in this side hustle. Or I'll sign an NDA. We're not going to copy you. But explain to us what this side hustle is. And then break it down into tasks. What are the tasks? And rather than employ one person and expect them to do the whole lot, at the moment you're doing 6 hours a day yourself, drop it down to 3 and get the other person to do 6. So you're co-piloting for three of those hours.
We don't know whether he's done that or not. One would assume that he would, that he would have done that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, you're right, we don't know.
Yeah.
But I would be assessing, going into the granular detail of why the two people failed. And it's
Right.
going to be one of those three things. There's no such business unless it's all in your head. But a side hustle like this is not just in someone's head.
I mean, 70%, what did he say? 70% of his income, I worked at his gross income be about 16 or 17,000 per month. So 70% is about 10 grand.
Yep.
So it's not small fry.
No, it's a good hustle.
Yeah, it's a great side hustle. I also
But he can't scale it. Like what the guy's got to sleep. So
Yeah,
if it's all
yeah.
reliant on him,
yeah.
and he's got all this level of debt, there has to be a circuit breaker somewhere.
He hasn't
the circuit
made-
breaker is not leave your job,
Yeah.
because you got to stay with the certainty of
Yeah.
your revenue.
Yeah, yeah,
and,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, and his bank might not be happy to move to self-employed with such a large debt, whatever the amount is.
But he hasn't made it easier for himself, Mark, because he upgraded his home. So he's taken on this massive debt that could have been avoided.
Well,
He's been doing this
sure.
side hustle.
But we're trying to solve the future, not punish
yeah.
the past, right?
Yeah,
so
agreed.
what is, and he's obviously meeting his commitments through the side hustle and his job, right? So what he is, he's going to burn himself out savagely, working 16 hours a day. So
Eventually it'll catch up with him.
And so eventually he's going to do neither very well because he's going to burn himself out. And so it comes down to keep your day job and start working the side hustle. And how does the side hustle become something larger? And you can't make it something larger without other people getting involved in some form. And so then it becomes, so let's make the assumption he's documented the processes. We don't know if he has, but let's make that assumption. Okay, so then it's about how you induct a new employee or a new person to come and help you in this business, and break it down into the tasks. And so you keep some for yourself, maybe the more critical ones, but some of the easy ones that are time consuming, you let them go and let them start with that. We're talking blindly here because we don't know exactly.
We don't even know what the business is.
Yeah. So but it really it's doing a bit of a synopsis onto why did the two people fail, and I always put it down to the selection, the communication, and the processes.
I also accept that some people are very good at what they do, but they're not necessarily very good in managing people.
It could be that. we don't know that part of it, right? So I'm coming more from a philosophical standpoint.
Angle, yep.
But that feels like a really good problem to solve.
It's fantastic.
So he's got so the opportunity, he's got that. He's got his stable income that supports his family and his commitments and so forth. He's got this side hustle. It sounds like a really attractive one. He just needs to solve for it, because if he's doing 10 grand a month now, which is 120 grand a year, what's stopping him going to 1 million, 2 million, 3 million if he sets it up correctly and then brings in the right people? Now, those right people could be employees. They could also be business partners of a similar ilk that have skill sets that he doesn't have, that can do the grind part of the work and so forth. It's up to him. He probably wants to keep it all. But what I can tell you is that person's going to burn out
100%
at working at that rate,
Yeah.
and
It's not sustainable.
and that could potentially translate to family issues as well, because he loses. He doesn't have patience.
Got 3 young kids under the age of 6.
And he's missing them growing up.
Yeah. So
how does he go see their sport? How does he participate in their lives? So I get the debt situation, but the side hustle's good. He's just got to do it a different way, in my opinion.
Do you know a lot of people that run D2C businesses?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I do, and I only got involved with one. It's bloody hard work. I mean,
so you got involved with one. So where were the?
I nearly got involved in one. I didn't.
Well, maybe you had a look at it, right?
Yeah, no, I had a look at it. And
so where were the clogs? Like, is it the dispatch? Is it the boxing and dispatch? Is it?
Yeah.
So why is that hard?
Yeah.
Why can't he could do 3PL, for example?
The problem is, Mark, if you don't do it yourself, it starts cutting into your margin so much that in the end it's not worthwhile. I mean, I'll give you a simple example.
But isn't that part of the problem then?
It is.
So how can you grow a $5 million business if you have to box everything yourself?
No, you can't. You just can't, because the D2C business, it's all about margins. I mean, the margins look quite good in the beginning, but if you go out and you identify the cost structure of delivering the product to the end consumer, those margins are eroded very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of people leave their full-time occupation because their side hustle's doing okay, and they go into this fantasy land only to find out that they're earning a quarter of what they were earning through their full-time employment. So not too many D2C businesses actually do well. But I do...
But could they do well, though?
They could, yes.
Yeah, so it's the way they're managed.
Yeah, and you have to adapt to D2C businesses like very, very quickly. Like a particular product may be doing well for 6 months, and all of a sudden it goes downhill, and you've got to adapt really quickly and pivot to go do something else. So it's a fast-moving industry, depending what industry you get involved with.
Yeah.
So,
but I can tell you one. Actually, you popped one in my head while you were talking. So there's a business that I'm aware of that they started. It was 2 mums started a business, and they started in children clothing.
Oh yeah.
And it's all personalised. Personalised labelling on clothing.
Yeah.
And Nana loves you. This sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And they just started with 2 mums in a home, and they've now built this business substantially.
No retail?
They do a lot on Etsy.
Yeah.
So they sell on platforms more than retail.
Yeah.
They don't have shops or anything like that.
Okay, good.
So it's more like I don't know 100% these D2C business models, but it feels like this is similar to that.
Yeah.
So it's all online. It's all personalised. They import from one country, package it here. And they reached a point where they couldn't just do it themselves. So they had to start employing teams and whatnot. And it's flourished for them.
Oh, good.
But that's but they got to a point where it's got beyond them, and they don't want it to become a $20-30 million business.
Oh, really?
No, they're just mums that enjoy what they're doing. And so like inventory's out of control for them. They don't really know their inventory levels. They don't have inventory systems. They don't have this. They don't have that. Probably cash flow issues. Because they don't manage their cash correctly. Because when you get to a certain level, then that's when you start needing like finance help.
Yeah, you need the right sort of people around you. As well.
But they got themselves a little warehouse. They got themselves some people to package. Dispatch, all that sort of stuff. We probably need to know a bit more about this guy's business to answer 100%.
We do.
But at a high level, break your business down into operating procedures, give clear instructions, and you've got to work a way to scale the business so that you're working on the business, not in the business.
Correct.
Because you can't grow anything if you are the business. You just can't grow.
Yeah, and the issue is, especially if you've got a corporate job, you've got a sense of responsibility to your employer. You're not working 7 or 8 hours per day. You're not working from home every day either. I mean, you're full on. You've got to have your eyes on the ball with your full-time employment.
Yeah.
You just can't afford
and
to
so
stuff it
burning
up.
the candle at both ends, you'll probably end up doing nothing right.
Yeah.
You know, nothing good. You know,
Okay.
you'll manage both, but you won't excel at both.
Okay, let's go to the second one.
Hope you enjoyed that answer, Ryan.
All right. Kelly, love this one. 28-year-old, 155,000, again, full-time employee. One of her clients has approached her to join a smaller company and is offering shares in the company.
In the same industry?
Yes, so basically being poached. I don't know what the industry is. I actually don't. The particular business that has poached her has been operating for about 5 years. It looks like the business is going to break even in 2026. We don't know what the business is.
That's okay.
Here's the problem.
Cash.
Yeah, salary. So she's on 155 grand now. Obviously, one of her clients are very happy, so they've poached her. Apparently, her new salary, if she kicks off with them, is only 117,000. Big
Down
reduction.
from 156.
From 155.
155. But she gets equity with that.
Correct. But
And
there's
after tax, it's not that much of a difference.
Correct.
Like it's maybe 15 grand or something.
Maybe a little bit more. But the shares, so it's 117 grand, but the shares could be attractive if the company keeps growing.
Yeah.
She's concerned that whilst the salary is greatly reduced, there is no guarantees that the smaller company will succeed. What does she do?
A couple of things here, right? So if you're getting equity for free, get tax advice, because that could be deemed taxable income, and so you've got to find additional cash to fund it. So structure.
In most circumstances, it is taxable income. Right?
Yeah. So structure your equity differently. So do it as options that are tax effective. And I'm not a tax person, but I have taken equity in position in companies where it's tax effective. You know, some of my director fees in companies I'm involved with, I've taken them as performance rights, I think they call them. And they're tax effective. So that's the first thing. So before you even contemplate, I'm going to do this, just get the right tax advice on how the equity should be structured. And then talk to that person and say, okay, for me to take less, this has to be tax effective for me. The equity's got to be like this.
I think her question, and thanks for
No, but
answering
these
that.
are many steps,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think what concerns her, she may be willing to cop the salary decrease. She wants a sense of guarantee that where she's going to go into a smaller company, that it's going to work for her.
Yeah. Well, the reality is no one's going to guarantee it, right? So she either backs herself or she doesn't. And so once you get your tax advice, the next stage is, regardless if you could afford it or not, would you buy this business? That's the logic I would play. Would I buy this business? And if I would, what am I bringing to the table that's going to accelerate this business? Now, obviously, if she's working at a larger company and it's in the same industry and someone smaller is poaching her, it feels to me that
It's
she
telling me
can
she
bring
bring a lot of
to the
value to the table. No,
right?
totally agree. Yeah.
And so part of that, as long as she's confident that she can deliver that piece to it, then that's as best a guarantee you're going to get. That, you know, like you want shareholders agreements, so you make sure you have shareholders agreements to make sure there's no disputes on anything, everything you're entitled to is covered, all that sort of stuff. Maybe you want some key decision-making rights over and above your shareholding. So, okay, I'm taking 20%, whatever the percentage is, but I get equal say on X, Y, Z. Yeah, so you get protection on decision-making. But the true value here is the fact she's contemplating it means she brings some value to the table. The fact somebody's offered it to her, somebody thinks she brings value to the table.
So why wouldn't they offer her the same salary?
Because obviously cash is an issue. So what I would go back to them with, let's make the assumption she says, yeah, I can bring business with me, I can grow this business, I know the networks, I know this, I know that, right? Then what I would be going to them with is, sure, I'll take this. I'll take this lower salary, and I'll get this equity in a tax effective manner. But then I have STIs, LTIs,
Hang on, do you want to explain what an STI is, mate?
So an STI is a short-term incentive, which is generally what you do within a 12-month period, which is generally like a financial year or a calendar year.
And the LTI is a long-term.
And the LTI is a long-term incentive, which is generally like a rolling 3-year. So you don't get anything in the first, like you get a third, and then after the third year, you're getting every year. And generally, the STIs are cash orientated and they're performance based. And so you have a look at the financials of this business. You have a look at where cash flow break even is, and then you incentivize. You create an incentive. So when I smash through that and I get to the other side, then I share X, whatever it is.
I agree, by the way.
Right. The long-term incentives are top-ups in your equity. So because you don't want to strip all the cash out of this business because it's going to need the cash to grow, whatever it is, right? And so. You get your STI.
You basically want to be rewarded for what you bring to the table in perpetuity.
Yeah, as much as you can.
Of course.
Yeah, as much as you can.
Yeah.
And so an STI could be like 30% of that REM, which is bridges her gap. And so she then you have the whiteboard. Okay, I'll bring all this potential business in, assuming I can deliver on that. Then you've almost got your guarantee that I'm going to get back to the salary that
or maybe even more.
Well, it's unlimited, right? You don't have a cap on it. And that could be a percentage of revenue, percentage of profitability, percentage of this, percentage of that, whatever they can agree on. She just needs to model it so that I would use the STIs to go, ideally, to go the original salary plus another 30% as the outcome, right? So maybe 180, 190 as the cash outcome, even though your base is 117. And so then you've got to work it back. So, okay, if I've got to get an extra 80 grand out of this,
what do I need to?
What's the performance that because you don't want to get paid 80 grand extra and the business is still bleeding, right? That's not a win. I don't think that's a win. So you want to win-wins, right? So the business is flying, you're going well, everybody's a winner.
You're part of the action.
And the business can support the 80 grand payment back to you, even if you pay it quarterly, rather than all the cash come out at once. And then the LTIs, the long-term incentives, are all equity-based, and that's based on, a formula that's predetermined, and more tax-effective performance rights are issued on the back of that, and that could be like 20% of your base salary every year.
I guess the other thing that a lot of people seem to believe in their head, just because they're working for someone, they have this perception that their job is guaranteed anyway. That's not bloody true. I can assure you.
Absolutely, it's not true.
So,
but they probably think they can just go get a job somewhere else as well.
Yeah.
Right? As compared to when you take investment in a business, whatnot, then you're pretty much tied to it.
Yeah.
So I get where she's coming from, and she's probably but the word guarantee. How do I get guarantee? It's not going to happen.
There's no such thing.
There's no reward of that nature without risk.
Agree.
And so if you're not prepared to take the risk, don't do it. Like if you haven't got the nerve, if you don't back yourself, and I generally find the people who are nervous about it, they're a bit nervous on what they can actually bring to the table. Because it's a bit of a no-brainer that if your business, let's say where she's working is doing 50 million of revenue, hypothetically, and this smaller business is doing 5 million of revenue.
People feel comfortable with a large corporate because it's cushy. It's going to happen. Smaller companies, you got to go out and make it happen.
Yeah, you got to hustle. You got to roll your sleeves up. And it's not for everybody.
No.
So it's about that person. What's her lady's name again?
Kelly.
It's about Kelly, and she really has to understand herself. Does she have the gumption to go into business for herself with a partnership here, and back herself and get the rewards that come with that? Or if it's not, then stay in the secure job and just enjoy life.
We believe it's secure. We don't know. I mean, I don't believe in that bullshit.
As compared to this, it's secure at the moment, right? For what we know based on this exercise, it's secure. Now, if she loses a job, she loses a job. What can you do? But at the moment, the fact somebody's trying to poach her probably suggests she's good at her job.
It's an opportunity.
But it's not everyone's got the...
28, young...
Like personally, as long as you're happy who the people you're going to go into bed with here, as long as you're happy with them...
Swing the bat.
Yeah, have a go.
100%. You're never going to find out. Swing the bat. And do it now.
And there's no sweat. Like it's all sweat capital you're putting in. You're not putting cash in.
Correct.
And so if it doesn't work, you'll still be employable. You'll still go get a job.
Yeah. No, totally agree. Actually, good answer. Okay, that's actually a good answer. Okay, let's go. The other one.
Do I get some biscuits for that?
Timothy.
Timothy. Who calls themselves Timothy?
Tim. I actually know Tim too. Nice guy. Tim, bless your soul. You've asked me. I've told you about 2 years ago. Let's see if Mark can have a go. 59.
Oh, we're going to compare answers
Yeah,
now. Right, okay.
yeah.
Interesting.
Mine was really blunt. 59. Is Tim 59? I thought he was younger. That means he's 59. Wow. Okay. Mark, he lives in a home valued roughly about 2.3 million. Debt-free.
Lovely.
That's a good thing.
Can we swap?
Nah. He's had the home for 28 years. Lives within his means, but bloody sick and tired of budgeting.
He's budgeting.
Budgeting. Wants to enjoy his lifestyle. He's come to the assumption that his super is not enough. Now, I told you that, Tim, a couple of years ago, buddy. His super is not enough to provide him with the things that he really wants to do.
So he's contemplating retirement, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he wants to pull the pin.
Okay.
Yeah, that I know. And because he got upset with me when I said you've got to be 60 to access your super and retired. For some reason, he thought it was 55. That's not true. It's 60.
Yeah.
Again, not financial advice. Now, discussion I had with Tim a couple of years ago. I want to sell my home so I could achieve my lifestyle dreams.
What are his lifestyle dreams?
I think it's just travel, buy the car that he really wants to get.
Has he got families?
No, single.
He's a single
Divorced,
guy?
yeah.
Divorced?
Yeah.
And never
Kids
wants
are
a
old.
partner again?
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I'm not too sure about that.
Okay.
He wants to sell his home, wants a sense of freedom, whatever that means, car, travel, whatever. But he feels as if he's doing a mistake.
If he made that call?
If he made a call. Now, this question came to me a couple of years ago, and I gave him my response. But I understand letting your home go so you can go and buy your Mustang or Corvette or Porsche or whatever the bloody thing that you want to get. I kind of get it, because then you really don't have a home, but you want to have lifestyle. And when he says budgeting, I mean, I've known Tim for quite a long time. It's the sort of thing, I really want that car, but you know what, I'm not going to get it. I'll get something cheaper.
Yep.
Can you get into my head?
Yep.
And, you know, I really want to go to New York. Bloody those hotels are expensive, so I'm not going to do that. So a bit more choice he wants to achieve.
Okay.
What do we do? You better get it right. Don't stuff it up.
No,
I think
there's many
he's gonna-
paths here.
he's gonna
I've got
listen
an,
to
if
us.
he loves travelling, I actually got
No, I'm not, no, it doesn't. It's not only about travelling. Travelling is only a small part.
Right.
Tim's wide.
He just wants to do, if he wakes up one morning and he wants to do something, he just wants to do it, as compared to second guessing himself and don't do it and go to the
it's
cheaper
more of a
option.
second guess. Like, I know for a fact, a couple of years ago, we went out and we went and had a look. What's that bloody car deal? What are they called? Audis?
Yeah, Audis, yeah.
So some Audi. What's that small car called? That sports car?
Not sure.
R8? Is it R7? No, I don't know.
sure.
It's some sports car, right? And it was
The Roadster. You're talking about the Roadster ones?
Yeah. Roadster. It was second hand, and it was like 170 grand used. He didn't do it. Ended up buying a 45 grand car, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Massive difference.
Massive, but he doesn't want to do the 45 grand car. He's gone, bloody hell, I've worked for 35, 40 years. It's not as if I want to go buy, a Bugatti at $1 million. I want to buy this Roadster, whatever it's worth. It was about 170 grand. So he bombed out of that one, bought a 45 grand car, does travel, but tends to travel in places where the accommodation's reasonable, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
Right? So he just wants to up that lifestyle, and he doesn't want to close his eyes, knowing very well he didn't do the things that he really wants to do now. But in order to do that, I've established his super's not enough. That's a fact. Because
do you have a feel for the gap?
No, I don't. The reason why you haven't got enough money in your super, mate, because you didn't contribute through all these bloody years.
If you understand the gap, then you work towards the gap.
I don't get it.
Because you're still young enough to fix that.
Yeah, 59, you're young, mate. And I said to him, you've got to provide yourself for at least 25 to 30 years minimum. But I can feel that he really wants to notch it up now, but he's got to let his house go. What are we doing?
He has to let his house go. So you're trying to tell him that he has to sell his house.
Forget what I've told him.
Yeah,
Don't worry what I've told him.
I would be loath to tell him to sell the home, right?
Really?
There are other ways to get the value out of those homes.
Don't tell him to borrow. Don't give me this line of credit, reverse mortgage bullshit. You're kidding. Oh, bullshit.
Well, you got to do the numbers, right? And so if he's got a home worth 2.3 and it's going to increase in value, outside of you think market crashes and whatnot, but
No, I didn't say that.
let's not go down that train.
No, we
but
don't.
so there's an inherent value there, right? So if the person doesn't want to let go of the fixed hardcore asset, and it gives him a base, right?
Well, no one does.
No, but it gives him a base.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of money sleeping there doing nothing, right? So it's a multiple choice type scenario here. One is you leverage the home to the extent of the lifestyle you want to live, knowing full well by the time you get to the end of it, there's nothing left, right? So if you need $100,000 a year to do all these things you need, there's 20 years of living, leveraging that property, and that property should be worth a lot more than the $2 million that you've taken out of it, right?
I don't like that answer. Change it.
It's an option, right? Yeah. Option two, I'd go back one step. If money wasn't an option, what is it that he hasn't really answered what it is he wants to do, other than he has buyer's remorse before he buys anything. He shits his pants before he actually makes a commitment to do something, right?
No, the fact is, it's pretty simple. With that Audi, he probably made the right decision. He didn't want to buy the sports car because it was a big outlay.
But it sounds like he hasn't got the cash to buy that sports car anyway.
No, correct.
So why is he looking at those when he hasn't got the cash to do it? He's either going to finance it.
No, because I said to him, mate, don't take out debt to finance your lifestyle. All that stuff that you said about now, reverse mortgages, it's just not happening.
Okay, well, right. But you can't say it's not an option.
No, it's not an option.
Not an option for you.
You don't take debt when you're retiring, mate. It's just an emotional pain. I'm not saying that's the wrong thing to do, by the way.
It just comes down to what your preferences are, right?
Yeah.
What you'll find, a lot of us, especially our culture and a lot of cultures, they want to leave things for people all the time, right?
No, I know
but
that.
If you follow the philosophy, I want to be dry by the time I die.
Yeah.
Right? So I want to have nothing left.
Yeah.
And then you break the years down, right? Now, I know you can't time exactly when you're going to die, right? But you can break it down, and you know what you need for aged care potentially, and home care and so forth. And so I know he doesn't want to do budgeting, but you break it down, and then you work backwards from the end. Work it backwards and say, how much money do I actually need every year? And then you make a call. Keeping the home that's an increasing asset that's tax-free and borrowing against it is not the worst thing in the world, subject to what this story tells you.
Okay.
Now, if this story tells you need $5 million and his house is worth 2.3,
no,
of course that's not going to happen, right?
No, we get that.
But if it's $1 million...
Look, you know what?
So that's option one, right?
Go to option two, because I don't like option one. That was a bad option, but anyway. Option two. That was a shit option, but anyway, go on.
Option two, you still do that exercise of what you need.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm going to follow the assumption he needs maybe, $100,000 to $200,000 a year to do what he wants to do, right?
Yeah.
So you sell the home. So that if you're not going to leverage the home, you've got to sell the home.
Yeah.
Then he's got to work out, okay, where am I going to live when I'm not travelling and I'm not this and whatnot? Yeah. So, is he renting? Is he this? And then there's, how do I get a return on the cash? So if I've sold my home, I've got 2.3 million in the bank. You shouldn't just think I'm going to spend 2.3 million. You should be thinking about, how do I get a return on 2.3 million that subsidises a lot of the things I want to do?
I better let you know, in terms of his risk, being 59, he's not prepared to take much risk.
But you told me in a previous podcast, you get opportunities where you take first mortgage over houses and lend money and you have attractive rates.
Yeah.
You can't get more secure than that, right? You've got first mortgage, you've got legal documents supporting it, and I know you don't want to tip people out of their home, but your loan is secured. So that's the sort of thing I'm talking about, right? Not investing in shares, not investing in funds. Just go capital guaranteed. Asset backed with very low LVR, and those opportunities are out there. So just have to talk to you. You find them,
heaps.
Right? And so if he could achieve whatever return he could achieve, but it's above putting it in the bank. Let's say he got 8%, just hypothetically, right?
It's about 7.75.
Okay, just make it 8 because it's simple maths.
Okay.
And so $2 million on 8 is $160,000 a year. Yes, you have to pay some tax on that, but it's $160,000 a year that he doesn't have today to help fund this lifestyle he's talking about. So you make the money work for you, subsidise your expenditure, and away you go. And then you've still got that lump of money sitting there at the end. Maybe it's eroded a little bit, depends on the returns you get and how much you're spending. But at the end of it, you still have a decent amount of money left over that will cover you for home care, aged care when you're an old fart and you need that help. And then one day you pass away and you might have a bit left. That's it.
You can also sell, buy a townhouse, leave $1 million and subsidise your lifestyle with your super.
Yeah, but you're paying stamp duty again on that townhouse. Like, once again, it comes down to the answer to that part of the question is, what's this expenditure look like? What is it that he wants to do that he can't do today? Because that answers how much money he needs.
I try to work that out with him, actually, and I tried really hard. And the goalpost kept on changing. You know, is it 110? No, it's 130. No, it's 107. No, it's 85.
But break it down to the activities, right? So, so for example, did you know, like I've been reading these people, they sell their homes and they live on cruises.
Yeah, I've heard about
and
this.
So they just go from cruise to cruise to cruise, and it's really cheap.
If you like this sort of stuff.
If you like that stuff, right? I don't know the gentleman, right?
Yeah. But it's very true, by the way.
But people are doing these things, right?
Yeah.
And so they go part Airbnb, they do cheap things on luxury escapes, they do all these sorts of things, right? And they never live in a home. They're just travelling all the time. Yeah. You know, he could get a caravan and just travel Australia and live in a caravan. That's a far cheaper thing than buying a townhouse for $1.5 million.
I can't see a roadster having a caravan in the arrears. He wants the roadster,
mate.
He
can get the Raptor, the caravan, and the roadster's just tailed at the back, right? He's got a B double going for himself, a B triple. But there's many ways to carve that up. It just depends on... There's not enough information to give a categoric answer, but I think we covered a lot of the options.
Do you know...
I personally, if you're going to sell your main home... like you're suggesting as potential, sell your home, buy a smaller home, so downsize and use the cash to go play, right?
Yeah. You actually said you actually tick all the boxes. The issue that this bloke's going to have, which I said to him, mate, you just have to suck it up. You're not going to buy a townhouse for $1 million in the area that you live in. It's just not happening, because I know what the prices are, right? Just because it's a townhouse.
But there should be a different... Like, his home is a large home?
No.
Oh.
No, he just happens to live in a...
So it doesn't have to be a townhouse, it's just downsizing suburbs.
Yeah. I mean, that's what he basically has to do. But just on that, the reason why I latched onto this question, I saw an interesting statistic, and it was done through the industry superannuation funds, and I think somehow a senator asked a question on TV. In 1992, get this into your head. If you retired in 1992, 10% of people had a mortgage on their home. Only 10% at retirement.
That's all.
That's it. Wow. 1992, right? Guess what the percentage is today?
I reckon it'd be over 50%.
It's 40.
40, wow.
It's 40. So...
We must have a lot more retirees.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be a big problem, because 40% of the people that are approaching retirement now are accessing their super fund so they can pay off their mortgage.
Yeah.
So the idea of a super fund giving you flexibility, freedom, lifestyle, well, for 40% of the people, it's non-existent. So if we talk about the 40%, this gentleman is probably in that same boat, although he's debt-free, right? If you're going to use up all your super fund and you're left with the home, and all of a sudden you're 60 and you've gone, shit, I want to live my life, and I'm sitting in this asset that's worth $1, $2, $3, $4 million, whatever the amount is, they're going to have the same issue.
Yep.
They're going to have exactly the same issue. It's just interesting how debt has exploded in the last 30 years. We've conditioned ourselves to use debt to maintain our lifestyle.
Probably to live beyond your
Actually, that's probably even better,
because they've got their four-wheel drives, they've got plasma, big screen TVs everywhere, and and they're not missing out on holidays, and so not too many people are doing the save first and then do something.
It's eventually it's going to catch up with you. I mean, all these things usually catch up with you.
You might just wait until you die, and then you die, and you don't have to worry about it.
Oh, bullshit. Is that how you think?
Yeah, really? Once.
Oh, wow. Do you know I've got mates of mine now that are organising their... What is it? Like, they go down to the cemetery and organise their burial sites.
Are you at that age where you've got to start thinking about those things?
No, I am not. But have you got people that you... I mean,
my parents did it. So they have filing cabinets at Faulkner. I call them filing cabinets.
It's weird, because my folks have done it as well. But I'm finding now I don't know, just through conversation. Yeah, I organised mine last year. Yeah, I organised mine 6 months ago. I couldn't think of a worse thing to do than go organise your
I got
burial site.
I got zero interest in
Yeah,
exploring
me too.
any of that. Nah.
And apparently it's bloody expensive. It's like 15 or 20 grand.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
Yeah, and if you don't do it now, and you're going to wait till you're about 75, 80,
the index
85,
cost, the indexing kills you.
You're paying back. You'll be using your super so you can pay for the burial site. Interesting.
Yeah, but I'm happy just to be burnt and ashes in the sea.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I don't need any. No one's going to come and visit you anyway.
Well, how do you know that?
Who wants to go to a burial site and watch people? So when, every year after year after year, do you do that? Like, do you go? Do you have anyone close to you that you go do that with?
I mean, no, I don't.
I wouldn't do it.
Really?
No.
Oh, come on, man.
You're alive. We have fun. You're dead. Next.
But don't you want to have the thought in your head that if something happened to you, your kids are going to come and visit you at Faulkner?
I don't want them to come and visit me at Faulkner.
Really?
No, I want them to enjoy their lives. They've got to go forward and enjoy their lives, not live in the past and worry about me who's dead.
Mate, it's only 15 minutes. It might even be a 15-minute visit. Big deal.
They can put my ashes in the garden and then they can water the garden and say, hey, hi, Dad, how you going?
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, no, I'm not interested in that. I'm not a big fan of all that. I think it's massive money. It's an industry that self-perpetuates itself and way overrated.
It is, especially I was unfortunately at a funeral last week. I had to go to Springvale Cemetery. These plaques that everyone fixed, and I think it's you guys that do it. The Italians, they have these whole houses.
Oh yeah.
Why?
Massive structures.
I don't get it. Why? Not that the Greeks are any worse. I mean, in the States...
When he says you guys, he means Italians.
Yeah, Italians, yeah. Like, why does everyone try to outdo each other? It's like mini houses.
Yeah, I agree. It's stupid. I agree. Being Italian, it's a complete waste of money. That's why my parents, I'm good they got a filing cabinet because I don't have to worry about the structure and whatnot. But for me, cremated, blow it away. Ever seen the movie The Big Lebowski?
No.
I won't tell you about the whole movie.
Before you tell me about that, so do you want to be cremated?
Yeah. My ideal situation is I get cremated and then my ashes are thrown on the North Melbourne football ground.
Oh, bullshit. Really?
Yeah. But then I want a twist on it, and this is where the Big Lebowski comes into it.
Tell me.
So these guys went to I can't remember who died. Someone and their mate died. He got cremated, and they took their ashes and they went to a cliffside in the ocean.
Yeah.
And they released the ashes, and a big gust of wind came, and all the ashes flew on top of them.
You're joking.
And I would love that to happen at my ashes being distributed at Arden Street, just on the ground there, and whoosh, big wind, and everyone who's there.
So
and then that's it. Then you move on. I'm gone. You move on.
Yeah. Why do you want to be cremated? Like, is that part of your religion?
No, because I don't want to be put in the dirt.
Really?
Yeah. I don't want a plot then people like. That's just I think it's not healthy. It's not good.
It's not healthy?
Yeah, I don't want it.
Oh, wow.
I just want to be cremated and gone. Free as a bird.
Oh, right.
I've done my time. Move on.
Interesting.
Yeah, sitting in a burial site, worms going through you and all sorts of stuff.
You're dead, man. I mean, who cares?
That's right. So why do it?
You're gone.
So why do it?
Wow. Jeez, that's interesting. Incredible. No, You want one of those Italian sites and your kids come over and bring flowers all the time? Is that what you want? Yeah.
Why you want to give that burden to your kids?
But it's not a burden.
It is a burden.
No. I want flowers. I want the whole thing.
But you're dead.
I actually want to be near a coffee shop too.
Well, they can put a barista sign on the thing there.
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful. All right, Mark. Thank you very much for a great episode. Thanks for answering those questions.
That's good. No, those really good questions. Hope. Who were they? There was Kelly, Tim, and Ryan. So I hope they got some value out of those answers, and they're on the path to solving a lot of those problems.
It's that security one that everyone keeps talking to me about. People, this notion that everyone's secured. No one's secured. I had my daughter here today. She brought over the little one for a bit of a swim, and she works for a large corporate. And things just changed 24 hours ago. I mean, the corporate that she works for is involved in the construction industry in a very big way. Things are slowing down.
Yeah.
People are let go. Well, there goes your security.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. No one's got security.
The world can change very quickly.
Yeah, very, very
I
quickly.
agree. As much as there is a different level of security having a job as compared to being self-employed, right? So that just regardless of the risks of that job, it's always a safer. That's why the banks lend to, employed people versus self-employed people. Is harder to get finance, as an example.
I always say to people, Mark, if they've got a business and they're self-employed and they need money for their business, don't bloody talk to me about buying a bloody house. Don't worry about buying a house. I know it's important because we're in, especially in Australia, we need to buy a house. No, you don't. Build your bloody business, get it really, really healthy, even if it takes another 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and then go buy your house.
Yeah.
Don't starve your business because someone's told you, or you want to be part of the Jones family, that you need to go and buy a bloody house. So that's a no-no.
I agree. I agree. Especially if you've got a growing business and you've got an opportunity, you want to put the wind behind the sails. But I guess that's a topic for another day. To buy the home, buy the business exercise. But that was a really thought-provoking topics today.
Awesome.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks for providing the answers. Cheers, mate.
And before we go, anyone listening, please subscribe. Press that subscribe button and look forward to episode 10.
Bang. Okay, mate. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Bye.